We're the Hounshell family. This is my wife Tricia, our daughter Hope, and our son True. For the next few moments, we want to tell you about a place that we call stranger than fiction. A place that is often beyond description. A place that is shrouded in spiritual darkness. A place that we call our mission field. I'm here on the steps of the LDS Family History Center in Kanab, Utah. You see, this is an important place for Mormons. It is here that they do research on their family genealogy. They need to find out who their relatives and family members are so they can practice baptism for the dead for them. They believe that this will get their family members out of spirit prison and into one of the 3 levels of heaven. Sounds strange, doesn't it? But, well, there's more to it. Among other things, they believe that their sacred undergarments will give them added protection against bad things happening to them. They believe that God was married, for instance, in the past and produced billions of spirit children with his wives, and that you and I are one of these premortal spirit beings, and that we were sent to earth to be tested to see whether we would possibly get godhood in the next life. Now you know why we call this place stranger than fiction. Please make no mistake about it. While the Mormons are very friendly people and kind folk, their religion is not Christianity, and they're lost in spiritual darkness. You see, their God is not the God of the Bible. Their Christ is not the one that we know. Their doctrines are not orthodox.
As a church, we have critics, many of them. They say we do not believe in the traditional Christ of Christianity. There is some substance to what they say.
The best way to remember the differences between Mormonism and Christianity is this. Mormonism humanizes God, deifies man, and ostracizes the Bible. And remember, Utah is the epicenter of this strange sect, and it's our mission field. Both my wife and I grew up in faithful Christian homes in Northeast Ohio. And as a young child and as a teenager, my wife attended a very Bible-believing church and went on to Christian college to become an elementary school teacher. I was raised as a PK in a pastor's home and cut my spiritual teeth helping my parents with the work of the ministry. I went on to get my Bible training for the ministry and pastored several churches before leaving the pastorate and entering the missionary ministry to become a church planter in Utah in 2005. We adopted our daughter Hope when she was just 8 months old from Korea, and she's now attending college in Florida. My wife gave birth to our son True in 2011, and he's a blessing to have with us on this missionary journey. God has truly blessed us with a tremendous burden for the 15 million Mormons around the world. He has allowed us to have some wonderful results in the heart and the headquarters of Mormonism in the great and needy state of Utah. Come with me and I'll show you some of this fruit. We're just a few blocks away from the LDS Family History Center that we were just at, and I'm here in front of one of the 2 churches that we have started in southern Utah. It is here because of you that people are saved and baptized and growing in the Lord every week. But let's back up for a moment and answer a question that we often get, and it is this: how did we end up coming to Utah? Well, in 2002, while contently serving as a pastor of a wonderful church near Erie, Pennsylvania, I came across a published report by a Christian college professor. And the report listed 1,000 towns and cities in the United States that did not have a gospel preaching church within 30 miles of them. Now, most all these towns were in the western states, and many were in the Intermountain West. In fact, there are fewer solid Bible preaching churches in all of the state of Utah than there are in some cities like Jacksonville, Florida, or Dallas, Texas. So you can see the need here is very great. After a 3-week survey trip to Utah in 2003, we decided to step out of the pastorate and into missionary church planting in a place often called a missionary graveyard. After just 1 year deputation, we arrived here in Kanab and established our first church in July of 2005. Started in a motel conference room that we soon outgrew, moved to a rented city conference center for just a few bucks a week, and in 2009 we acquired and remodeled our current church building. And just think, God has allowed all this to happen here in spite of being told by some missionary church planters to forget about Kanab in southern Utah because, quote, there'll never be a good church there. In 2010 we were able to start the second church about 90 miles away in the area of St. George, Utah. We started in a motel conference room there and met in people's homes. A good core congregation was formed, and we turned that work over to a permanent pastor in 2014. Not only does my family and I appreciate your prayers and support, but so does the many people who now have a good gospel preaching church to attend and serve in and grow in, right here in the heart of Mormonism. In fact, why don't we step inside and I'll let them tell you best how much they appreciate your blessing to them.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Because of you.
Because of you.
Because of you.
Because of you.
I'm standing here on the Utah-Arizona state line. We're about 45 miles from Kanab. And this place here is called the Utah-Arizona Strip. Behind me are the twin towns of Hilldale, Utah and Colorado City, Arizona. This is the epicenter of Mormon polygamy. Reportedly, there are about 15,000 polygamists living right here nearby us, and upwards of 60,000 across the western states. Most men who live here practice what's called plural marriage. They will have 2, 3, sometimes up to a dozen wives and many dozen kids. Joseph Smith, the founder of Mormonism, practiced polygamy himself and had nearly 40 wives. Now, while the mainstream Mormons practiced polygamy for about 60 years, most of them have stopped it in the early 1900s. But in around the 1920s, a large group broke away from the main branch of the Mormon Church so that they could continue to practice this plural marriage or polygamy. They're called the FLDS, or the Fundamental Latter-day Saints, and they claim to be the true Mormons. Let's find out more. We've moved just about a block away off the main highway, and I'm standing here in front of Warren Jeffs' compound. You see, Warren Jeffs is the infamous polygamist leader of this FLDS polygamist cult. He's in prison right now. The polygamy practiced in the homes behind me is really a dark and cruel thing. Young teenage girls, as young as 12 and 13 years old, are often forced into polygamy, often marrying men 30, 40, 50 years their senior. The older teenage males, well, they're routinely kicked out of this community, and they often become male prostitutes and drug addicts. Now, the reason that they're banished is so that young girls can be given to the older men in marriage. Those boys that are kicked out are called the lost boys. And here's the really sad news. There's no real established gospel preaching church anywhere in the surrounding 2,500 square miles. But we want to change that. Lord willing, after our furlough is finished, our plans are to start our third mission work right here in the middle of this needy area. Yes, it will be our most challenging church plant yet. Yet with your help and your partnership, it is possible. And I hope you can help by praying, by financial support, by coming out and giving a week or two of your time and labor to assist us in reaching this place that we call stranger than fiction.